Okay, let's jump into some more trading psychology here. Full-time trading certainly is not a job. The business world will certainly reward you for time. Time and money are totally disproportionately related in the trading game. Traders have got to realize their power in wealth creation before they concede. It's very scary. It's also extremely liberating at the same time. Recognizing that you have no set times, unlike the 9 to 5, you can trade at 3 o'clock in the morning currencies if you want. You can make your money before most people have their breakfast, or you can spend all day trading. It really is down to you and down to your individual style. The rules we've learned in the business world, they don't exist in the trading world. They're completely different. Time is indirectly or is non-proportionally related to money. Discipline, trading is probably, as I said before, one of the hardest things you're going to do, and recognizing this, it's all about your mindset and what can we do to sharpen and harness our mindset. Well, realizing that there are tricks of the mind. Taking a look at this particular diagram, we might decide that this is a breakout from resistance here. If we look at this chart, this is Barclays. We might decide, crikey, Barclays is breaking out through this level. I might decide here that I can see a breakout emerging, a breakout from what?
Channel.
Yes, a breakout from a channel or breakout from resistance. That's right. I think I'm going to go long Barclays. I'm going in at 550 minimum. So of course we enter the trade here, and then of course that same bar which is not closed then becomes a high test, and we see the stock gap down into the consolidation and fall further and further. Days later it nosedives. That most promising opportunity turns into a disaster, and we're waiting to be right when clearly we're wrong and we should have just closed the trade. Very, very common, happens all the time, but it's the ability to emotionally detach from trading which is just crucial to our success. If we can emotionally detach it, shift the meaning, go, you know what, it's the learning curve, this one, and move on, we'll make it. If you look at all the traders who have become some of the greats today, or even some of the most promising investors, I can guarantee you this much: they've had disaster financially throughout the road to that place. But it's not what happened to them; it's what they did about it. That's the key difference. Most people, as soon as something rocks up, which they didn't expect, something unexpected, they use that as their rationale or their excuse for their exit. They use it as the opportunity to say, I didn't think this would work out, here's my proof that it hasn't, and then they exit stage door left. Okay, let's jump into the histology of the mind, and very simply you've got the limbic, or the emotional old brain. You've also got the neocortex, which is the new brain. Let's kind of jumping on into this now. Realize this: the two mind centers are in control and will always be in control no matter how long you trade. There's a fight between the old and the new brain, one which says, I really shouldn't do this, I should be more risk averse. The other one said, come on, let's do it, and lump the money on. And we've all done this from time to time, certainly those of us that have done shorter term trading. You know, you can see the devil and the angel here, which talks to each side of the head. There is a conclusion between this. The one that wins is generally the emotional mind. It's the one that comes first. So we've got to put steps in place to ensure that we are practiced. The only way that we can tame the beast, if that makes sense, is to set up a trading plan and practice it daily. Now, there are a few tools we can use, and I want to make sure that we use some of those tools. Take this example here, identifying when the old brain is in control. Let's say, for example, we wanted to buy on the break of that 20-day moving average on day one at 750. Let's say that's down here. We decide to buy. Our strategy is, let's say on this trade, we move the stop to the lows of each day. By the end of day 3, you've got 20 points at 770, and by the end of day 4, you've got 40 points at 790. Day 5 opens and starts to come off. Now, what do we do? What did you do, Paul? You're trailing your stop up under the low of each day. What happens now? Day 5 opens and starts to come off. What would you like to do?
Probably get out. It's a reversal bar.
Okay, so he's seen the reversal bar and he's get out. His strategy on 2 was, I'm just going to move my stop to the low of each day. A, we see the price coming off. We could take profit. That was Paul's suggestion. B, we could stick to the strategy and risk some points. Well, A, we see the price coming off. We took profit. That was down here at a 5. We just sell it. But B, and we'd get a profit there of 25 points. However, B says stick to the strategy. Our strategy was keeping it at the lows, and we take 60 points. We just literally trail it up, hold it up each time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now it's a wrong answer. There's nothing wrong with your answer necessarily because you saw it, you wanted to take your profit, and as they always say, you can never lose taking a profit. However, one of the big things to be aware of is most traders do exit their trades too early. They don't let the profits run. The real trading game is you're going to have loads of little losing trades, but some of those winning trades are going to run brilliantly. And it's holding your nerve and holding into those trades whilst it may look like it's coming off, maybe momentary. So if we decide our strategy is to keep it to the lows of each day, we've got to stick with that. And sometimes that might mean that we get stopped out on something that goes on to run 20 or 30%. And sometimes it might mean that we get to take a great profit. Now, let's have a look here. We identify when the old brain is control. We enter long here, as we've decided, off the big bars. Well, we enter long. The rest is utter disaster, pain, and suffering is really the key thing to be aware of here. We've entered really at the wrong stage, right at the end long on an expansive move upwards. And, of course, nothing we can do here will save us. The trade idea doesn't match any of our successful strategies. And we've panic bought too late. And, of course, panic buying is ultimately going to lead to panic selling in the future. Okay, let's use some strategies now. How can we set ourselves up for some success? Well, the first to be aware of is that we can visualize and use visualization to really help ourselves out. And this really means we can visualize how we see the day panning out or how we see ourselves as a trader. If you speak to any professional in any area, whether it be a golfer or a leading sports person, they'll always visualize what they see happening before they do it. Exactly the same thing with trading. I want you to set up a visualization technique where you set up what you expect to happen based on what you're looking for. For example, if you have a market which is coming down and pivoting off, can you visualize that you want to find yourself power plays, for example, and then go out there, scan using your eyeballs and literally pick those things up, find them, and then go trade them? Yes or no?
Yeah.
You see, most people, when they come to it, they'll enter the market directionless. And then they come in, they're looking around for opportunities, go in with a notion, find something, visualize how you expect it to work out, and then practice that daily. This is how I expect things to happen. This is how I expect things to happen. Set up the strategy accordingly, and then see how it works out. Great way to start. Set a visual plan up straight off the bat. This might sound like a weird thing to do, playing calm music. And playing calm music even assists people in anchoring a relaxed state. Oftentimes people get very caught up and they have a lot of noise which is happening inside of their mind. What we can often do is play music. A lot of traders play music while they're placing trades or investment decisions and try and anchor themselves to a state which is different from what might be going on in their mind. If we can find ourselves anchored to a state which might be either related to music, if we're auditory or sound-based, or we can have imagery or something that can re-anchor us back to something which is calm and confident simultaneously, then we can ensure that when times become more excited, shall we say, we can manage to reduce our state down to where we need to be, which is in a calm, confident, anchored place. Let's go back to our true trading personality. For those of you watching remotely, we're going to ask you now to print off the trading personality worksheet, and we're going to do this here in the audience. Trading success really requires understanding yourself, and we all have a slightly different way of looking at the field, or at least approaching the trading game. We're going to do a self-assessment here, and we're going to figure out what more of our orientation is. Some of us are more orientated visually. In other words, we're more hyper-visual and faster acting. Some of us are more auditory. In other words, we are akin more to sounds and thinking things through logically, soliciting feedback from other people. In other words, hearing lots of things to make a decision. And other of us are more kinesthetic, which means touching and feeling. Never put anybody in one bucket. We're all a combination of both, but we might express one slightly more than the other. And if so, there are things we can certainly do to enhance our trading personality. When we've nailed that, we're going to go through some subconscious conditioning techniques that can really set ourselves up for success in the trading game.